How's it going, Omaha? We are here back into 2019, kicking things off with Spotlight Omaha Veterans About Face. They have a album coming out. It's called The Coming of Age, releasing January 11th.
Woo!
And you can catch their single, Waste Your Time, up on Spotify now. And it is also in the Spotify Omaha Locals playlist on Spotify right now. So you can catch a bunch of local artists in there, including our boys here. Thanks for coming back in. It's been
Thanks for having us.
It's been several months. It's been quite a while, actually.
Yeah, sometime last summer probably. I think when we were here
Been a good bit of time. And at that point, you guys were getting ready to launch a Kickstarter to fund this album.
Yeah. That was ending in June, I think, that we got the Kickstarter started. So yeah, it was probably around that time. Mm-hmm. Made our goal around then. So
and tell me about that process, because I know, with every Kickstarter, especially for musicians, you guys are gonna. Mm-hmm. You guys obviously contribute a little bit by yourselves, but I saw you guys talking about it pretty much every chance that you got, trying to get people involved, and you guys, which ultimately worked out. You guys did meet your goal, and $5,500 for the first time for like the first album. For you guys, is pretty big milestone.
Yeah, we definitely appreciated everyone. We bugged pretty much everyone we knew too. You know,
Shout out to mom and dad.
Shout out to all of our moms and dads believed in our dream, and that's good. And they had more money than we us, so we had to bug them. But no, we definitely did. We really pushed really hard to do that. We really appreciate everyone's support on it, because we had 4 singles out. People definitely seemed to believe that we could do it, and I'm just was blown away by all the support that we got for it.
Yeah, and we put a pretty minimal amount in ourselves just to kind of get the ball rolling, but then everything else was just other people donating to it, which was really cool.
Makes us think that maybe somebody actually likes us, which is either our friends and family do, or apparently we're going to have some popularity. Who knows?
Now, and so here we are several months later. You guys have actually finished up recording. You guys are your release is right around the corner.
Yep.
I followed you guys around in the studio for a little bit.
But I didn't. Studio?
The recruiting studio. Hashtag inside joke. Now, the experience for you guys obviously was pretty fresh. From the EP that you guys recorded, it was a completely different setup. How much more went into this album compared to the first experience?
Oh man, I think we recorded each of the EP songs separately on their own, months apart. So it was definitely a weird thing to go in. We did 2 or 3 sessions right off the bat where we just took 72 hours straight pretty much. We'd take a Friday off work and we'd go up there and just sleep in the studio pretty much and live and breathe there by the time we could barely stand each other by Monday or by Sunday night at 11:30 when we were leaving, or maybe even later than that. And it was definitely a much more exhaustive process, and I think we were probably a little bit more perfectionist about certain things that maybe we weren't when we were doing the singles, where we were just we can make that work or whatever, where I think we exhausted ourselves. I remember getting home on, going to work that next day on Monday, just being exhausted, just being brutal. But
it was the singles it was more about getting those out.
Yeah.
As quick as you could. And this one was, I know after sitting in the studio with you guys for some of the video footage we caught, just the amount of care that Jeremy put into it over at Coyote Face.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coyote Face Records.
Coyote Face Records. Come on, get it right, man.
Coyote Face Records.
The amount of care that he put in is it's always good to see, because we've got a lot of great engineers out here too, and seeing the care that they put in.
Yeah.
Do you feel that he kind of brought out your guys' sound a little bit more? Or
he just kicked our butts, man.
Yeah. He forced us to improve as well, and he translated our live sound as well to very, very well to the album. It doesn't sound like it just really captured what we're trying to do. He really did a great job.
I think he kicked Josh's butt the worst.
I did not mind at all.
I think you had a 14-hour day in there, man.
Yeah.
Josh literally had a 12 or 14-hour day.
It was 14 hours at least.
It was a lot of drums.
Yeah, it was the first time I was sore the next day from drumming. Just never happened.
It was a lot of fun though. We did have a lot of fun up in the studio as well. There was definitely some long days, but it was a lot of hard work, and it was a blast.
And Roth was here the whole
experience. Roth standing in the corner.
Now, with the addition of another member, like you've got the album out. Are we looking at touring? What kind of promotional events are we looking at for the album?
A lot more shows.
Yeah.
A lot more shows. We already have, I think, 6 shows booked for the next few months. And then we're going to try and do like a little Midwest tour here. We haven't quite figured out when, but want to do some stuff in Iowa and then like Kansas City and kind of branch out a little from there.
Maybe Des Moines.
Yeah.
Have you guys done much traveling just yet?
Not yet.
Mostly just
Lincoln.
Omaha, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Park.
But I think our big push is I want to try and kind of build our online reputation as much as possible. That way
very
when we
important,
go there, we have at least some credibility to our sound and our live platforms where it doesn't say less than 1,000 plays on all of our songs and nobody's ever heard of us. Like we'd like to have some, like I said, credibility. So.
I mean, with a new album coming out, that's gonna be a big boost for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't heard their singles, I mean, you guys don't have a bad song up right now. Like, I mean, it's definitely something to jump into. We can only throw 2 of yours on there, just to be fair. But yeah, so obviously. Gerald's favorite is Caroline, but I don't think you guys have played that in a while.
It's been a couple shows.
We played at a practice a couple weeks ago.
But yeah, you guys have worked up a pretty big catalog now.
Yeah.
How much of a time gap from now until the next studio album do you think you're going to be doing?
We've already been talking
I was gonna
about
say.
more. I don't know if an album necessarily is any time in the near future, but I would say
A couple more singles,
a couple
maybe?
more singles, maybe like an EP or something. You know, I mean, it just kind of depends on how quickly we write more stuff. I know
And that really
there's
comes down
stuff.
on you, right?
It does. It's more how quickly I write. So okay, fair enough.
And you've
fair
already
enough.
started. We've started jamming to some new stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's always the struggle. I feel like we've been working on these songs for the past year or so, and so at this point, it's always a big difference to be like, our audience or maybe some of our newer fans might be hearing it for the very first time, and for us, it's like we've been doing it for a year now, and so we're always excited to get new stuff and put new stuff out there, but we've got to we want to let the album take time to,
It's like fine wine.
digest.
Yeah, fine wine. You just gotta let it sit and age well. Get a lot of viewers and listeners.
Do you even drink wine? You drink like wine? You drink wine coolers.
Corona with wine.
I only drink Smirnoff Ice. All right.
Smirnoff Ice and Gardettos.
Please
Pretty much. Yes.
A little backstory: while Josh was taking a nap in the studio, Carson was taking
Trying to murder me.
Garditos and putting them just in Josh's mouth as he was sleeping. And Josh woke up and just started eating them. Like,
Yeah, he
didn't
wasn't mad
and
about
I
the
just
fact
started eating them.
that he nearly choked on Gardettos. He was just super stoked.
Just happy that he
had
got some.
Gardettos.
That I got.
I've
the
never.
Gardettos.
I get that vibe. I've been there. So.
I got the Gardettos.
No, I've heard some of the tracks, and I don't think you guys have anything to worry about there.
Okay.
That's good.
Like fits in very well with the indie rock that you guys have kind of surrounded yourselves with, and some creative stuff that I hadn't heard. Like you guys took a few right turns that I wasn't really expecting in a few songs. Like kind of went outside of the boundaries of your sound a few times.
I think that's our goal. I think, especially moving forward, is to always. I mean, we're always going to have our kind of core sound that we kind of fall back to, and obviously, when we write, we're going to have a similar sound. But I want to always kind of be pushing and experimenting. That's how I play, and that's how I write. Really, is is half the time I'm just let's see if I can make this sound good or sound listenable. And so that's kind of our goal, and it loops back to adding a keyboard player. It gives us more dynamic ability. It gives us more, just instrumentation that we can experiment with. I think that's really what we want to be. Obviously, we want to be listenable. We want to be, radio friendly, have, solid hooks and all that. But I also want to experiment a little bit and try to push our own sound and push ourselves.
All right. So, what led to the album being called "The Coming of Age"?
Well, it kind of has double meaning. So we were kind of talking. We felt after that fourth single, Once Again My Arms Around You, we released last, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
We really felt like we were kind of coming into our own as a band. We really liked where we were at, and so we kind of joked around and kind of double meaning. And then I had noticed a lot of the newer songs I had been writing were very based in sort of this, just like the coming of age, sort of like it's very much discovering who you are as a person, kind of stream of consciousness, so to speak. And so it kind of had a double meaning, and we just kind of rolled with it. It was kind of retroactively applied. It's not, it's not like a concept album or anything like that, but
Sure.
we felt it kind of all fell under that umbrella, and so we just kind of settled on that name, and just even with the last 3-4 songs, kind of just wrote under that mantra. That was kind of the tone we were going for.
Gotcha. So, and I noticed you mentioned like that was actually a lyric in The Optimist itself. So, but it sounded from the way that you described it, The Optimist was almost being written while you guys were still in the studio.
The Optimist has actually been a song I have been writing for, man, I think by the time we got to the studio, that song was like almost a year and a half old. I'd been writing it for, at least the lyricism of it, I've been writing, I'd thrown away like 50 verses on that song. Like, just one of those where I really felt really good about it. It's actually one of my favorite songs on the album, because it was just a work of love for me lyrically. It was just a real fun exploration of just sort of my attitude over a couple-year process. Usually I'm not the type that works on something for that length of time. I typically usually have an idea 2-3 months in. Sometimes, we all have it as artists 2-3 weeks later. You're like, that was the worst thing I've ever written. What was I thinking? But it was one of those that just, for once, it stuck with me. I don't think that about most of our songs, but
It's not her fault.
But that one, like, I really worked on for, 15, 16 months before I finally had the lyrics to a spot that I was like, I feel really, really happy with. And that was a fun journey for me personally. There was a couple times just even sitting in my room while I'd get stuck on a line, and it was just a very cathartic thing for me to just sort of repeat. And we only played sort of a stripped down version of the song. The song is actually the album closer, and it's some even longer. It's kind of got like a tag at the very
big
end.
finale piece.
Big finale piece. And so it was, and going back to also stretching our sound a little bit, it's definitely a slower, more acoustically driven song that's not really like probably what you're going to hear on the rest of the album at all, but I think it fits. I think it, as part of the greater work, I'm very, very excited about it.
Well, I've only been getting tastes of it for the last couple months. I'm excited to actually finally hear the entirety of the album.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coming of Age releasing January 11th. You can catch Waste Your Time right now, basically on all major streaming platforms, and the album will be available at your show at the Slowdown on January 11th for the release party.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You guys are playing with
Real Zebos and Dear Neighbor.
Real
Two
Zebos
of
and
our
Dear
favorites
Neighbor.
also. They're great.
A couple other really good
Yes.
local groups out here.
It's going to be a fun show.
But thanks for coming in. I'm excited to
having
hear the
us.
album.
Absolutely.
Give it to me early. That'd be rad.
Yes. Oh, yes. You'll get an early copy.
Sweet stuff. Thanks for coming in. We'll catch you guys real soon. And
On the flippity flip.
on the flippity flip. And Spotlight Omaha, thanks for tuning in.
About face likes beards.